Welcome to Lesson 2, All About You. You may already have a pile of things from the first lesson of all this information about you and your company and your audiences. And if you don't, that's totally okay too. We're going to use what's in your brain, and there's plenty in your brain. So let's go ahead and get started with Lesson 2, All About You. As a reminder, we are on a path to our first draft story to persuade our target audience. And as we agreed, we call it a first draft because the final draft, the final wording, the final length, even the final medium we use, all that's going to change. The story is your rock. The story is the foundation. It will expand from a short conversation or email to a long presentation, maybe an entire website, but that's all for tomorrow. For today, this is a natural, comfortable first draft, becomes a reference for everything else. We also know we're not just throwing facts around, right? We are telling a story. We humans, we love our stories. We lean into them, right? Our resistance goes down. We are more likely to remember anything wrapped in a story. So you and I together, we are telling a story. And that story has to have a goal. We are persuading the person you're talking to that what you want them to do is actually in their best interests. The best way for you to make sure that your ideas win, the best way to make sure that your business grows and thrives is to deliver value to people who matter, to make life better for people you serve. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that is exactly what you're doing. That means you and I together are figuring out how to do a story that persuades your audience to understand that what you're doing, what you suggest, when they do that thing that you want them to do, when they do that, they are helping themselves. That means you and your audience, you are working together. You're working together as a team to make their lives better. When you keep that mindset, you will be more confident in your story, and that will guarantee you're going to be more persuasive. And of course, we know that every target audience may have a slight variation on our story. Why? Because each audience cares about slightly different things, right? Sometimes audiences even care about very different things. Each audience has a different challenge in their lives, and we're going to help them with that. We're a team working with the person we're communicating with because we are going to improve their lives. So let's dive into Lesson 2 of the Persuasion Foundation Formula. We're together on the goal, but we also want results, and we want results fast. So what's the fastest way to create a persuasive story to get people who matter to do what you want? And as usual, we're not tricking people, right? We're making the case that when people support our idea, do what we want, they are also doing what is in their best interest. That's a win for both of us. In the first lesson, we got ready, and to save time, to avoid distraction, you grab whatever you had around about the idea and the company and the product and the target audience, right? If you didn't have anything, we said that's no problem. You got plenty in your head. But if you've pulled together what already exists, it'll save you time, keep you from getting bogged down or getting distracted later. Our next step is all about you. And here's the funny part. This may be the only time I'm ever going to ask you to forget about your audience and just think about you, right? I'm starting here because I want to start where you're most comfortable. You know yourself, right? Thinking about your own world. But we're going to take this lesson to focus on you, and it's going to be the only time I'm going to say, forget about your audience and focus on you. From last time, you probably remember that to make discussion easier and clearer, we'll mostly talk as if the goal is to get a customer audience to buy something. So we're going to use words like product and company. But maybe you want someone to invest in your company. Maybe you want your best customers to do that testimonial video. Maybe you want that restaurant manager to approve your idea to set tables with wine glasses to encourage customers to buy wine. There's lots of things it could be, right? But what I keep promising you is either way, the steps are going to be the same. In any situation where you want someone to take action, I'm confident this will work for you for one reason. Creating persuasive stories has been my job for so long that I personally, just to run my business, I needed great results and I needed to be done fast. You are learning the steps I've refined along the way, and these steps will be the fastest path to a great result, just as they have been for me, just as they've been for the clients that I've been giving this to for so many years. So today's about you, your product, you personally, your company. If your company is bigger, this might include your team, your vendors, even your business partners, right? This step is about all the ways that your idea or product or service or suggestion is special. I use that sort of generalized word, just all the ways special. I'm not going to get bogged down in words like features and benefits. We can talk about those another time. Right now, just that's all I need you to think about is all the ways that you and your idea are special. And the good news here is it's just going to be a simple list. Really simple. No essays needed. Just the simple list in your own words. You can make this list in any way you like. You can use a pad of paper. You can use a whiteboard. I use a lot of whiteboards. You can use a computer. Whatever works best for you. I just want you working in whatever way you like best. Fighting with your tool is going going to distract you. So you're going to be fastest. You're going to be most complete if you're comfortable. And I've got even better news. You'll use today's list, the thing we're going to do in today's lesson. You're going to use this over and over with every new audience you want to persuade. So even if the story you create for, say, customers versus employees versus investors, even if those stories are a little bit different, the starting point is this list from this lesson, all the things that make you special. Because what's special about you and your company and your idea, those don't change. And if I sound excited about this, it's really because I am. I hate wasting time. And I love when good work can be used over and over and over again. We're going to repurpose what you do in this lesson over and over as you get more audiences and you apply the story to more and more situations. Okay, so we're doing our list, right? Think of this, everything I talk about is just going on a nice, simple list. Think of it as a bullet list, write down a piece of paper, write on a whiteboard. I find it easiest to start with the most concrete features and maybe the benefits, if you want to use those words, features, benefits, but the most concrete features and benefits of your product, of your idea. So we're going to start our list with blinders on, all right? We're going to focus directly on either the product or the core idea. Then we're going to go broader. We're going to talk about you and your company. This should be fun. You know this stuff. It is your product, your idea, your project, your initiative, your hiring plan. It's your concept. You know this stuff. How did you design it? How did you price it? How did you make it easy to learn? How did you make it easy to use? You've got this. You can do this. We're just making the simple list of all the things about your idea or your product. If you're getting help on product features, like maybe from a partner or head of products or something, and if you're in a larger organization, talk to the person who spends the most time thinking about the trade-offs. You might have 4, 5, 6, you might have 20 things. It won't matter for right now. These are all the things about the product. Let's do an example. It's going to make this as real and as concrete as we can, all right? First, we need a mythical company that we're going to use throughout this course. Let's call our company Simple Sprouts. The Simple Sprouts Company. And Simple Sprouts has something to sell. So let's say we sell seeds. They're just normal seeds. They grow into plants, but they are not your normal seed packets. Let's assume that Simple Sprouts sells a set of seeds that are pre-mixed with just the right amount of fertilizer and stuffed into some soil. And then they wrap that little mixture of seeds and fertilizer and soil, they wrap it nice, clean, think of it like a tea bag sized pod of biodegradable paper. Okay, so you got kind of the image, imagine a tea bag, but inside that tea bag, you got some dirt and you got some fertilizer and you got your seeds. And then the tea bag just dissolves in the ground. We're making this up, right? But we need something to make it concrete. And the idea is that because you touch the tea bag, you don't even get your fingers dirty. So we're going to call these little pods of seeds, we're going to call them seed sacks. So we're ready. Our company is Simple Sprouts, and Simple Sprouts sells seed sacks. We're still talking about a product, so let's start listing all the things that make our product special. Your list would start with these basic points, right? 1 pod equals seed, soil, and fertilizer. No surprise, right? That's the basic. You got to have that, right? Your biodegradable wrapper, it also keeps people's hands clean. Well, that's kind of cool. That's kind of special. It's because it's part of the core idea. What else? Well, each pod has more seeds than competitors because you want to make sure they grow. Okay, that's cool. You also recommend seeds that are based on the buyer's weather. That might be special, might be unusual. What else? Well, let's say these are things we're all making up. Your soil is guaranteed not to carry weeds. Don't want to do that. Your seeds are organic. You even sell some cool pots. And your instructions, you think your instructions are fantastic. Okay, so here's an obvious question. When am I done? How many do I need? And I've got kind of 2 answers to this. First, you don't have to worry about having too many. This is the most important thing. You don't have to worry because the simple steps that we're going to take will absolutely ensure that you only talk about things your audience cares about. So don't edit yourself at this stage. Just keep on writing. If it makes your idea special, if it makes your product special, just add it. But I'd also say don't make yourself crazy, right? Experience tells me that having more than 10 or 15 things will probably be overkill. If you end up with way more than that, you're probably making your life harder. But this was our list, right? This is our list for our mythical company. Okay, I promised I'd start narrow with the company, narrow with the idea, and then we'd expand our thinking about you and your company and your whole company. You personally and your company probably bring a bunch of things that your audience might value. What's worth talking about? Because this company list is just about who you are and what you do. You may need a nudge to get a little bit focused, but once you get going, I promise you this is going to be really easy too. This list is all the things that are non-product oriented that make you special. It could be great experience. It could be fabulous support. It could be a community of customers, maybe online, maybe offline, maybe live meetings. Maybe you just started, so you have a brand new company. New is good. Or maybe you have a really old company. Old can be good. Local ownership can be a great thing. Being a franchise with the national backing, that can be a great thing. You're thinking of all the ways you and your company do things that can make you special to your audience. Again, just move quickly. You don't want to get bogged down. You don't need to edit yourself. We want this list to have all the good stuff. And I promise you the simple steps we'll make later will bring focus on the things that matter. So we'll spend time talking about things that matter to people who matter to us. So let's go back to our example. Remember Simple Sprouts, and they're selling seed sacks. What are the things that Simple Sprouts, the company, brings to the party that maybe aren't specific to the product, right? That aren't specific to the seed sacks, all right? Let's add to the list the things that about you personally as the owner of Simple Sprouts and your company overall. So this might include how you as the founder have deep experience. It might include how you offer lots of cool support, videos, phone, email, all that stuff, and even an online community maybe of like-minded people. If you or your product, your company have some sort of certification, some outside group that says you do good work, let's add it. By the way, I got to tell you, that acronym you see on that page right there, AOSCA, it really is an organization. I had to look this up. It really is an organization that certifies seeds. Who knew there was an organization that certified seeds? But we're going to add it, and a later step, we'll figure out whether anybody actually cares about it, right? Let's include our guarantees. Maybe there's some of this added value that keeps on giving, like a monthly newsletter. Finally, if you have a core reason that drives you, don't hide it. We won't go into a lot of detail here, but people often connect more with why you do something than what you do. With Simple Sprouts, that might mean that as an owner, you really care about reconnecting people with the earth. In my own case, I want to make this really concrete. In my own case, I changed my work completely because I was super committed to two things. Number one, my personal professional mission, helping good people get more of what they want. Helping good people get more of what they want has been driving me to change my entire business. And the second thing, the more specific thing, the way I help good people get more of what they want, is I believe the best ideas should win. Working with you in a course like this just happens to be the best way I know to make both of those things happen. I totally understand that some people might not care why I do this sort of work, but it matters to me, and I secretly hope it matters to you. And just like that, we're done. We are done with our example of all the things that make our mythical little company Simple Sprouts and their mythical little product Seed Sacks special. Those of you who've been in marketing or sales, I'm going to come back to terminology for a second. You know that I don't complicate things by dwelling on things like what's a feature and what's a benefit and other these sort of specialized words. I am not saying those descriptions don't have value. I'm not trying to give you a new vocabulary and have you reject an old vocabulary. I'm just saying our process is going to take care of all these details so you don't have to worry about it. So we can keep things simple and we can just talk about all the things that make you and your company special. Okay, what are other things I don't want you to worry about? Let's talk about some of those. I mentioned before that creating this list about yourself should feel pretty easy, right? Because no one knows more about you and what you offer than you do, right? So let's not make it harder on ourselves. And most important, don't worry about perfect wording as you make your list, right? Just go fast, use your own language, and yes, being persuasive is about picking the right words. We are going to talk about that a little bit later. Words that are in the language of your audience, words that people understand, and eventually that will matter. But this isn't the time. This isn't the time to slow yourself down. This isn't the time to make your life harder. But I promise, I'm not going to leave you hanging. In a later lesson in the same course, we're going to talk about how to word things to wake people up and get them excited. What else not to worry about? Even if thinking about yourself is usually easier than thinking about someone else, you can still hit a wall. So if you have this nagging feeling that you're leaving out good stuff, if you get stuck thinking about what makes you special, let's try a different technique. You might not need this. You might not need this, and don't pressure yourself to do it, but it's good to have in your back pocket. And it's this. I want you to think about your competition. If you have direct competition, this is super easy. If you don't have direct competition, that's okay, but I don't want you to think you don't have any competitors at all. Your competition might just be other ways that people can spend their time or can spend their money. So let's think about our competition. How do we do that? If you want to use your competition to get your juices flowing, it's just time to pretend again. We pretended about the company, we're going to pretend about a competition. If you were talking face to face with someone considering your competitor, remember it can be a direct competitor or just another way to use their money, but they're considering this competitor, what would you say? Remember, you're in that conversation to help the other person, right? You're in that conversation to make sure that your audience takes action because it's in their best interest. If they know your competition, they might say something like this. Well, your biggest competitor, Dirty Dirt, they say their seeds are organic. or their seeds grow bigger, or their seeds are assembled by starving students, how would you respond? Does your answer shine a light on something that you do well and maybe that isn't on your list yet? Because if it does, it'll be something that does make you special, that makes you stand out. Put it down, add it to the list. Let's play that out a little bit on something besides seeds, right? If you have a vacation planning business, lots of people do that, right? How do you save your customers time? If you want approval for a new project, your competition is all the other ways that your company can spend their time or their money. So how does your project help the company in ways others don't? What would you say to that person asking you that question? Or if you sell exercise classes or maybe a weight training video, there are so many options that are like that. Every other exercise routine in the world is a competitor. So how do you help people reach their goals faster? Maybe speed is the thing that you do differently. Thinking about the competition has a lovely way of sort of focusing the mind. And with that, I get to say congratulations. You are done thinking about you. You have a single list that combines all the things that make your product or your idea or your service or your company special, and all the things that make you personally special. And you can add to this list over time, but you never have to start over. You have got what accounting people call a new asset. You've got a new thing of business value that you'll be able to use over and over again. You have the content that's about you that's going to help you create a foundation to match with the ideas of your audience so that they realize your ideas are powerful and your ideas should win. The magic is we are not going to go blindly screaming this list all about you from the rooftops to try to get people to listen to what we say. Too many companies do that. We are too smart for that. We're not going to do that. That won't work and it won't be persuasive. Instead, we're going to connect this killer list of all these things that make you special to the deepest, most powerful desires of your audience. And that's going to change everything. To do that, we've got to know who that audience is, right? And that's the focus of the next lesson. So come on over when you're ready. I'm going to be waiting for you.